That's the key. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us these eyes, but what purpose would they serve if all they did was just be there? The Creator noticed, he continues saying, the Creator noticed this as well, and he made man 2 arms, a left one and a right one. Each arm is segmented with many joints, each joint being able to turn for quick and easy use. At the end of each arm, he put separate sticks, 5 on each hand, which we call fingers. Now, we do not think it's a big deal that we have fingers. Why? We're used to them. When you were born, you had them. They didn't grow. They were there when you were born. B'ezrat Hashem. But that wasn't always the case. The Midrash says that until the generation of Noach, people didn't have fingers. People didn't have fingers. They had hands, like you have hands, but it was like a web. That's why, if you look at the Psukim in the Parashat Noach, it says that when Noach was born, says that this is the boy that's going to bring us ease. What ease? What ease is this boy going to bring us? He was the first boy that was born with fingers. And one of the most difficult things of that generation was when they were working, it was very hard for them to work because they didn't have fingers to make tools. So Noach was the first one to actually have fingers. Now, when you think about it, your fingers are a miraculous creation of its own. First and foremost, your fingerprint is unique. That by itself should amaze a person to the extent of no end. Because if you would say 100 people have 100 different types of fingerprints, okay, that makes sense in our head. 1,000 people, 1,000 different types of fingerprints, okay, that makes sense too. Even if you say 100,000, in your mind it works. But once it gets to big numbers, 1 million, 2 million, the human mind can't really think in that type of size. When you don't have God in your life, you already think that if you have a lot, eventually you're going to have something repeated. Statistically speaking. I knew a gambler who was an expert at conning people into making mistakes based on math. He knew math, and other people didn't know. And he would tell them, listen, I bet you as much as you want that in this room there's 2 people that have the same birthday. Just by him walking into the room, 2 seconds. Everybody would take on the bet. Why? They're figuring in their head, there are so many dates. You have 12 months. Each month has a 30 days, 28 to 31 days. You have all these days. What's the chances that there's going to be 2 people with the same birthday? Because they're thinking, calculating in their head, no way. How could you even know that if you just walked into the room? I mean, if you spent some time in the room, you got to know everybody. Maybe you have a really good memory. You asked everybody their birthdays, and you remember it. Yeah, you found 2 people that have the same birthday. Yeah, but you walked into the room. How did you know it? And he would win the bet every single time, never failed. I met the guy. He was like 90 years old already. In my movie, at the end of the movie, you see him. He's a cowboy, and he's a very famous gambler. And he won every time. How? Because he knew statistically, if you have, and he told me this, if you have, I think it's either 30 or 35 people in a room, 2 people will have the same birthday. It's either 30 or 35 people in the same room, always you're going to find 2 people with the same birthday. So, when it comes to a number like that, we think 30 people, wow, what a coincidence. So surely if there's 100,000 people, surely out of those 100,000 people, 2 people should have the same fingerprint. No, they don't have the same fingerprint. Maybe similar, maybe, but it's not going to be the same. Same thing with DNA. You're never going to have 2 people with the same DNA. And we're not talking about 100,000 people. We're talking about 8 billion people. In fact, much more than 8 billion people. All the people that ever lived. And you're never going to have 2 with the same fingerprint. Never going to have 2 with the same DNA. Never. That, Rabotai, shows us the infinite ability of HaKadosh Baruch Hu when it came down to his creation. When we look at our fingers, we're thinking this is something simple. But it would literally be easier to invent an atomic bomb that doesn't blow up cities, but creates cities, than to figure out the fingerprint. Now, further, he says these fingers, Noach is the first one that got them, were further given a sense of touch, enabling them to differentiate between heat and cold, dryness and wetness, hardness and softness, everything in keeping with what is necessary for the ordinary progression of life. Now, you may not think that this is so much of a big deal. Okay, so you have a sense of touch, There's a very rare disease, and thank God it's rare, that some people have in the world, where they do not have their same sensors like you do, where their sensors don't work when it comes to pain. They don't feel pain. Now this may sound, for somebody like me, sounds fantastic, sounds like Gan Eden. You don't feel pain? Wow, I want to be you. Until I realize what it means. What does it mean you don't feel pain? That means there was a little girl, I believe she was in Eretz Yisrael. Little girl, her hand was on top of the stove, an electric stove, on fire. She kept it on. She didn't know what was happening. Her skin was melting, but she felt no pain. She just didn't know what was happening. She's a little girl. That's why I say, thank God this disease is very rare. Because the people that have it are in life danger 24 hours a day. Because one of the greatest things that people don't notice is pain. Pain is a fantastic thing. One of the reasons is that it reminds you that you are alive. It reminds you that that section of your body is still alive. It's still operational. If there's no pain, that means that that body part died. Pain is a reminder that that place is still functioning. It's also a warning for something that potentially can be worse. If, for example, Chas v'Shalom, you cut yourself, if you don't feel the pain, you'll continue cutting. If you don't feel the pain, you'll continue cutting, and you can make the damage much, much worse. But if the second the knife, Chas v'Shalom, touches any body part, you feel the second it touches it, before it becomes some gash, you feel like the whole world just exploded. It's really only a little tiny gash. You're like flipping the knife, you're trying to break the whole kitchen. I can't believe it. It's like a little tiny little thing. Like your wife's like, what happened? Oh no, I stabbed myself. Where? You're showing us. Like, where? You're showing us. Where? A little tiny little speckle of blood is on your finger. You made a big deal out of it. But thank God you have that. Why? Because if you didn't have that pain, that seemed like it was Kriyat Yam Suf, Shem Menachem, you cut your whole finger. Cut your whole finger. And that, Rabotai, is a very different life to live. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu thought about this too. In your fingers, he put sensors that tell you when something is hot, when something is cold, when something is forbidden to you and dangerous when something is not. Too hot is dangerous, too cold is dangerous. And a person that knows how to use their senses will stay away from danger. Now, the same thing goes when it comes to dryness and wetness. If you're trying to identify something in the dark, you're looking for a pair of glasses, but when you're looking, all of a sudden your fingers feel wet. And then you know that you put your hands inside of a coffee cup or something. It's not your glasses. This helps.